It's so easy to watch YouTube videos of spiritual teachers speaking as if they have reached the promised land of enlightenment. And if you just follow them and do what they do, then you too can reach nirvana. But the reality is, they are just as messy and flawed as everyone else. And realizing that and seeing that is a good thing because it stops you from putting people on pedestals and it stops you from giving away your power. Because the real guru is inside, and the skill is in connecting with that and then crucially acting in alignment with it. It's easy to put teachers on a pedestal, and I know because I've done it. When you know that you don't have all the answers and you see someone else full of confidence and certainty, it is alluring, but it's also somewhat disempowering because you are putting your trust in someone else over your own inner wisdom. And it's a bit like being a child again and looking up at your parents as if they're infallible, only to later realize that they're as screwed up as everyone else. And you can get cross and frustrated about that, or you can see the reality of it and accept them, clay feet and all. The non-dual insights are definitely valuable. When I first realized that I was not my mind, it came as such a relief because I had been trying to think my way out of anxiety for so long, unsuccessfully. And then I really saw that I was not my mind. I was aware of my mind. So I was not the stories of being flawed and broken. I was the silent observer that was witnessing these stories. And that came as a relief. And then that understanding picked up momentum. And I realized, for example, that I'm aware of my thoughts. So my thoughts are arising in awareness. But similarly, the sounds that I can hear and the sights that I can see, they're also arising in awareness, only they're not in my body. So not only was I not the story of being flawed and broken that was playing like an old record player, I was way more expansive and liberated and free than I could ever have possibly imagined. And so the simple recognition of being a conscious being was this absolute miracle, and it still is. And when I first really saw this, I remember my first question was, what the hell is going on? Things are not how they seem to be. And from that, this sense of wonder and awe has increasingly developed. And how can anything outside of me ever compare with that basic insight? But we are human and we make mistakes. We get angry and we get jealous and we get frustrated. Life is messy. And it's not about denying that or pretending that we've risen above it, but rather engaging with the messiness is where the real growth happens. So I'm married with 2 kids, and the challenges, for example, my wife and I have had around our respective attachment wounds has been challenging, but it's also been where we have both grown the most. And so turning towards those challenges is so valuable, but you've got to be in it to do that. And I also clearly make loads of mistakes. Last week, I was overly confrontational when having a conversation with someone about something that was important to me. And I recognize that. And so the challenge for me now is to take responsibility for my actions, to apologize for being too confrontational, and to seek to communicate in a calmer, more centered, and ultimately loving way. And this is what I call inner alignment, to see through the limiting stories that the mind comes up with and to recognize the patterns and the dynamics that are keeping us stuck, and then to tap into our intuitive wisdom. Because if we sit with it, like, we can open to knowing what the right next step to take is. And then the challenge is to act in alignment with that recognition. And sometimes that takes bravery, and it can be messy and it can be challenging. But that's where the real growth happens, not just in sitting in meditation or resting in being or on the cushion, actively engaging with the messiness of life. And when we do take that action and our intention is to align with our loving nature, then we become more loving and more aligned, and we develop this sense of inner trust and resilience. And this is what spirituality is all about, is walking the talk of these insights, not pretending that we are perfect and we've got it all figured out, because we can always be more loving and more in line with our true nature. And making mistakes is part of the process, but then it's about choosing to realign, because that is what counts. Now, if you would like to work with me to develop your own inner alignment, I do help people get in touch with their own inner guru. So if you feel stuck or are asking yourself, is this it? And nothing's making you feel happy or fulfilled, then I can help. I work with people one-to-one and in small groups, and not from a position of, I've got this all worked out and I'm the finished article, but rather I'm walking this path too, and I can help you do the same.